Hello and welcome to another indie game review here on the YouTube channel for the Sanitarium.FM gamer radio station. I am the PredictedCyborg, and today I'll be looking at Punch Club, a mixture of strategy, management and fighter games from studio Lazy Bear Games. Now, you might already have heard this game already if you pay any attention to the news coming out of gaming news outlets. Punch Club was the subject of a specially made Twitch Plays channel made by Lazy Bear that challenged the Twitch community to beat the game. If they beat the game, Punch Club would be released onto Steam immediately. Otherwise, the release date was set to be January the 25th. The Steam page even had under the release date when Twitch beats it before release, which we actually saw before release and we found it actually quite funny. Now, Twitch Plays is a popular phenomenon, having started with Twitch Plays Pokemon and gone from there. Lazy Bear Games put an estimate that the Twitch community would take about a week to beat the game, but the community took the challenge to heart and through their combined chat room efforts managed to beat the game within 36 hours, and that's a day and a half in case you need that put into a sort of day time form. Quite impressive, and Lazy Bear did actually keep their promise. They released Punch Club quickly onto Steam, and actually having used the Twitch Play phenomenon to advertise the game, that's actually really quite a good idea because, as I say, when we discovered it, we saw the release date when Twitch beats it, and immediately we did become kind of, curious. When Twitch beats it, what's that all about? And obviously we went and did the research and found our way to the Twitch Plays channel. So, advertising your game through that, well done Lazy Bear Games, that was actually quite a good idea. So, what do you do in this game? It starts off with a cutscene showing some brief backstory. You are the child of a fighter who, in a street brawl, ends up being shot dead. With your father dead and your mother gone somewhere, that's never exactly made very clear. You are adopted by a police officer who apparently owes your father for some past good deed and is also alone, or so he says. After that, fast forward to your young adulthood where you are sleeping on your sofa, you have a small house or flat with a garage, and you're woken by a phone call, I'm assuming from the police officer who adopted you, telling you to go get a job. Following the instructions and clicking on what is indicated from this point onwards will eventually lead you into your own street brawl, after which you will get approached by an old weary fighting trainer who sees some potential in you and asks you to come see him at his office. And in case this sounds familiar, you're right, actually. There is a definite 80s film vibe here, and it's not just in the graphical and the sound style, which is certainly retro-themed, and you can actually choose to put on a retro filter that kind of emphasises the pixels, although whether or not that's visually appealing, it is up to you. We're not as fond of it, but it's bearable, at least for me. There's also little references to movies such as Rocky that you can see in the background scenery, and the journey that your fighter is supposedly taking is very reminiscent of similar journeys taken in the films of the 80s. Meant to be inspiring and all that sort of stuff. The interaction with the game is a point-and-click one, and you need to balance keeping your HP, hunger meter, mood and energy meters filled while training your body for fight, and how well you fight is determined by 3 stat meters that you have and you can train up. You have strength, you have agility, and you have stamina in that order: red, blue, green. Strength obviously puts more power into your punch. Agility will let you dodge and execute certain moves better, such as various kick moves. And stamina obviously determines how long you will last in a fight, as well as your ability to soak up damage through blocks and stuff. It's very hard to keep all 3 high at a time, and you will find that you eventually begin to concentrate on 1 stat or even 2 out of the 3. In fact, the game actually encourages you itself to do this, saying that it's very hard to keep all 3 up and you should really be concentrating on what you're good at. Another thing to note is that you will also need to work jobs around this to earn money so that you can actually buy food to keep yourself fed, as well as be able to pay to train in the gym that you eventually come across, and eventually buy some new equipment at the sports goods store that you can place in your garage and train with at home. Although you do actually start with a mat, so you're able to do press-ups that will raise all 3 stat counters at once from the beginning of the game, and in fact is actually part of the intro tutorial that leads up to that street brawl that I mentioned before. The one that you get in, not the one that your father was apparently shot in. As for the fights itself, you will get the option to sign up for them when you visit the gym for the first time, and it requires that you actually sign up for them before they happen, otherwise you will just sort of skip fights. Once you have signed up for the fights, you will be told at the end of each day when your next fight is, as in 2 days' time, tomorrow or today. And all you have to do is make sure that on the day of your fight, you've gotten your HP, energy, hunger, and mood bars as high as you can before you choose to enter the fight. And you can actually choose to enter the fight from any point during the day. So if you arrive on the day of your fight and your energy bar is a little bit low, you can catch some Z's for a bit, as long as you watch the clock and make sure that you don't let it roll over to the next day. You can also, from the beginning to a certain point, actually encounter thugs on the streets who will try and mug you. That is, if you choose to walk to places in the city rather than spend money taking the bus. Either way, win or lose a fight, you will gain skill points that you can use to unlock new skills in the skill tree that you can then choose to use. The fighting mechanic itself requires that at the beginning of a round you choose certain skills to line up in your repertoire that you want to use in that round, and then you press the fight button to let the game take the wheel and let the fight play out. Now this is where I think we can begin to talk about how the game is actually to play, because letting the game take the wheel for the fights was not really what I expected. Not that I fully minded letting it do it, but it did seem a little strange in a game about becoming a boxing champion to not actually do the fighting yourself. And I mean, some people might get a little bit more bothered about that, and it all really depends on how hands-on you like to be in a game, especially one about fighting. Functionally, the game works really well, and your story does progress as you do certain things, but the problem is that those things happen at times that seem a bit spaced out, and besides the tutorial-ish bit at the beginning, once you reach a certain point you're not really told what to do to progress, other than train, fight, win, rank up. That being said, you do end up meeting a handful of strange people through these events, and have a few decisions that you can actually make during them, that without many consequences that are too bad, you can at times unlock other avenues for training up things, other shops, meet more people, and also discover more locations, which can lead to even more encounters. The thing is that the space between the events is the part that stuck with me. At first, figuring out how to train and then maintain your training and your progress is the big draw to the game, because at the end of the day, you lose a little bit of the progress you've built towards your next stat level up, and the higher your level in that stat, the more you actually lose, which is a little bit annoying to slide backwards, but from a realism point of view, I can kind of understand why it happens, because in real life, you don't train up and then keep that progress. You've got to maintain your training, or else you kind of slip backwards. What ends up happening, though, is that eventually you work out a routine, and, well, that's sort of it. You go through the routine, and eventually it does actually become akin to grinding your stat increase in an RPG game, and it all gets a little bit too similar and a little bit too samey. And that's a shame, because this is a good game, and again, the grinding makes sense from a realism point of view, because, if you want to sort of train your body, you do need to keep at it for quite a while. It's not just instant progress. But this is a video game, and it's just not something that I think that I personally could stick with for more than 2 hours of game time before I'd want to go and play something else. Punch Club is available on Steam right now for £6.99 in the UK and $9.99 in the US for the standard version, with a deluxe version also being on offer that includes the additional soundtrack and artbook DLC, which is £10.99 or $13.99, depending on your region. Or you can actually get the DLC separately for £3.99 or $4.99. And I'd have to say that those prices are pretty fair, although if you actually do the calculations, you can figure out that it doesn't really make much difference whether you acquire the DLC separately from the game, or if you acquire it with the deluxe version, it's the same price, with actually getting it separately being 1 cent or 1 pence less, depending on which currency you use. Punch Club is a fun game, but for me personally, it's not really one that lends itself to long gaming sessions. If you're playing short bursts though, it is brilliant fun, and so if you don't have a lot of time to game every day, this might be one that would be right up your alley if you like management games. It'd also probably make a really good mobile game. This has been suggested by one of my colleagues here at the station. And so that does it for this review. Thank you for tuning in for this video. I am the Predicted Cyborg doing a video review of Punch Club by Lazy Bear Games, published by Tiny Build for the Sanitarium.FM. Remember, do stay tuned to this channel for more video reviews, and I will see you next time. Goodbye!